Okay. The final thing I want to explain in just a brief run is combat. Okay, so if we get into combat, how does it work? Okay, in Dungeons and Dragons combat, every single turn, you as the player are first going to roll what is known as initiative right here. I'm going to say roll initiative. That will denote that we are getting into combat. You're going to click on that initiative and you're going to tell me what you got. If you get a 20, that just means if your 20 is above what everyone else rolls, you go first. So getting a higher initiative is better. So some things to note about combat is when it's your turn in combat, you have four things at your disposal. You have an action, which is being able to do any of the things here in the actions tab. That includes using your weapon, using any spells you may have, or making any attacks. You have what's a bonus action, which is down here. Bonus actions are other things you can do. Normally not as impactful as actions, but they still can be very impactful. They're just kind of like more supporting things. So your bonus actions will depend on your class. The bard has bardic inspiration. I'll explain it if anyone plays a bard. Otherwise, we'll leave it as is. But just to note, on top of this, you have reactions, which are different things you can do in combat. Um, by default, the only thing reaction you may have is opportunity attack, which means that if someone is within range of you but moves out of range of you, you can use your reaction to attack them because they're trying to flee from you. That can come up for sure. Otherwise, it's possible you don't have any other kind of reaction. But again, you have the action, the bonus action, and the reaction. Every single turn, you get those. You also get your movement speed, which again is up here. If you have 30 feet of speed, that means that you get to move 30 feet every turn. That is just a very easy way to explain it. On top of that, some other things to note for combat are if you are a spellcaster, you're going to have your spell attack modifier and your save DC. So, your spell attack modifier is how easy it is for you to hit your spells that you're like proficient in, that are part of your actual spell list. This is kind of all done in the hit DC regardless, and the save DC is something I may ask you for if you do certain spells. You just may need to find it here. So, just to note, on top of the spells, so when you would actually go to make a weapon attack or a spell attack, some of the spells are DCs, but in general, what you're going to try to do is you're going to roll to hit someone. Okay? So if I am within 5 feet of someone with my rapier, I need to roll to hit on them. So the first thing you do is you roll a d20 to see if you hits the enemy. Now you may ask, how do you know if you hit them? Well, every single character at the table, the DM's characters and also the player characters, have what is known as an armor class. So the armor class is what you must beat when you're rolling to hit. So let's say someone was to roll to hit on me with their rapier. They would click this, they would get a 21. Well, a 21 is larger than my 14. Therefore, they would hit me because their roll to hit was higher than my AC. So that's important for you all to know if you're the tank. If you're the tank, you want to get this armor class up as high as you can, because then statistically it's less likely you'll get hit by attacks coming at you. And if you are trying to deal damage, you may want to make sure that your hit DC is as high as it can be so you can actually make sure you keep hitting the enemy. But once you roll to hit, assuming I as the DM tell you that you did hit, you can then roll your damage. This rapier is dealing 1d8 plus 3 piercing damage. You would just click this, you would get 9, and you tell me 9 piercing damage as the DM. I would make a note of it. I'll let you know how it affects whoever we're fighting, and we'll move on from there. That would be your action, and then on my turn, I would use one of my bonus actions maybe to use a bardic inspiration. If I did, certain things like spells and other abilities have these little boxes here. I would just check one off so I knew, oh, I used the bardic inspiration, so now I'm keeping track of it. And then also I don't have any reactions, and maybe I could use my movement speed to maybe move away or reposition myself. But that's kind of how every turn goes. You're just looking how to use these four main resources you have. Again, the action, the bonus action, the reaction, and the movement speed. So use those in different ways to, you know, help yourself in combat, help your allies, things like that. So as a really oversimplified way, I'll obviously be re-explaining it again, but hopefully that at least helps a little bit explain the basics of D&D. So made these super quick. So obviously there'll probably be questions, but we can definitely talk about it when we meet up. So have a good one.